how's your sex life? No. I mean, really, how's your sex life? Like, if you were asked to rate sex with your partner on a scale of 1 to 10, and your answer falls somewhere between meh and do we really have to? I want you to know you are not alone. That's because for so many of us women in midlife, Valentine's Day doesn't exactly scream romance. In fact, it's more like a neon flashing sign reminding you your libido has packed its bags and ghosted you sometime around perimenopause. Maybe your partner's the one always trying to initiate sex and get things going. But you're like, babe, if I have to choose between sex or sleep, you're losing. Or maybe you want it, but between hot flashes, hormonal night sweats, and the fact that your vagina feels like the Sahara Desert, you're hoping Netflix and chill, and I mean actually chill, is an acceptable Valentine's Day plan. Listen, it's not just you. Hormonal shifts in perimenopause and menopause directly impact our libido, our vaginal health, and even our ability to get aroused. But here's the thing. Just because your hormones are tanking doesn't mean your sex life has to, too. Today, I'm digging into the Are You There Midlife podcast vault to share one of my most popular episodes from a Love and Hormone series I hosted with my husband, Rick, back in May. In this episode, we're diving into how shifting hormones, growing older, and the age of your relationship may be sabotaging your libido. Plus, I'm going to share 4 tips to help you reignite that spark. So, if you're dreading Valentine's Day and just want to get your sexy back, this episode is for you. Welcome to Are You There Midlife? It's me, Monica. Hi, I'm Monica Topetti, wife, mom, health coach, and hormone imbalance survivor. And I'm on a mission to help women in midlife balance hormones naturally without drugs, doctors, or divorce. Are you tired of dealing with heavy, painful periods that look like a crime scene? Are you sick of struggling with anxiety, fatigue, or brain fog that... What was I just saying? Are you frustrated doing all the things to lose weight but still packing on pounds faster than a real housewife changes Birkins? Girl, you are in the right place. Join me each week as I spill the tea on what to expect in perimenopause and beyond. From IBS to insomnia, bloating to funky body odor, I'll unpack all the weird stuff happening inside our midlife bodies, plus give you the latest science and holistic solutions to manage it all. So ditch the Spanx and hop on board the Hot Mess Express. Let's do this. Hey, beautiful. Welcome back to the show. So before we get into it, I wanted to share 2 things you can do right now if you're dealing with hormones and need help. Step 1 is to take my hormone symptom profile assessment. Now, if you haven't taken this free assessment yet, I want you to pause this podcast right now and head on over to bit.ly/takemyhormonequiz. Because it's going to be a total game changer in getting control of your perimenopause, menopause, or even postmenopause symptoms. First, it's going to tell you whether you have a hormone imbalance. Forget what your blood tests say. This assessment evaluates your symptoms, not some arbitrary number that changes every day. And second, it's going to tell you exactly which of your hormones are out of whack, so you can finally have the clarity you've been searching for. Again, that's bit.ly/takemyhormonequiz or click the link in today's show notes. If you've already taken my assessment, but you're stuck because you've been trying to DIY your way through your hormonal symptoms, piecing together bits and pieces of random advice, and it's not helping, or it's not helping enough, or at all, then head on over to bit.ly/fixmyhormonesnow and apply to work with me. Navigating perimenopause and menopause is tough. Who says you have to do it alone? Just imagine no more Googling, no more throwing money at products that don't work. Just a clear, step-by-step plan customized to you to help balance your hormones, get control of your symptoms, and feel like you again. If you're ready to just do this, then go to bit.ly/fixmyhormones or click on the link in today's show notes, and let's see if we're a good fit to work together. So before I go ahead and introduce today's co-host, I want to issue a brief warning. This episode features a frank and open discussion about sex and intimacy and may include explicit content not suitable for children. So, you may want to listen to this one with your headphones on, or at least make sure the kids are out of the house before turning on the speakers. Okay, are we all good? Headphones on? Kids out of the house? Awesome. So, today we are continuing our spring series, Love and Hormones, How Perimenopause and Menopause Affect Your Marriage. And once again, I am joined by my very handsome and very supportive life partner and husband for nearly 26 years, Rick Tepetti.
Hey, honey. So excited to be here. I gotta say, after a couple episodes under my belt, I'm feeling pretty good.
Well, that's great, honey, because I wanted to warm you up for today's topic, sex and intimacy. How do you feel about this one?
I gotta tell you, I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm here to learn along with you, and I think it's just only going to make our marriage better and hopefully help a few people along the way.
Amen. Amen. Well, I couldn't do this one without you, so here we go. Before we get into it, though, I want to just give a recap, especially if you're a new listener. This is actually the third episode in our relationship series. So in our first episode, which was episode number 7, we discussed the importance of effective communication among couples during perimenopause and menopause. And we shared some of our personal stories along with some tips on navigating difficult conversations. Then in the second episode, episode number 10, we took a deep dive into the emotional roller coaster of perimenopause and menopause and how hormones play a key role in mood swings, anger, anxiety, depression, even OCD. And we shared 6 tactical tips for de-escalating and even preventing an emotional conflict in your relationship. I'm going to go ahead and link both of those episodes in today's show notes, just in case you haven't listened to them yet, or if you want to listen to them with your partner. Today, we are going to take a deep dive into sex, libido, and intimacy and explore 4 myths about sex in perimenopause and menopause that may even surprise you. I know at least they shocked the heck out of me, including what causes low libido in women, how important is sex in a marriage, how menopause affects sex drive, how sexual desire works, and can sexual desire come back? Plus, we're going to get pretty candid about our ups and downs in the bedroom during the last 10 years. No pun intended. Including how we weathered dry spells, issues with body image, and how we are still working to keep things fresh after nearly 26 years of marriage. Are you ready?
I know I'm ready, honey. I know this is going to be a roller coaster, but I got my pen and paper out and my drink to my left.
Okay, so why don't you go and grab your favorite beverage? Suggestion, maybe something a little bit stronger than sparkling water today, unless you're driving, of course. And let's stir the tea on sex, intimacy, and libido in midlife. So before we get started, I just want to encourage the ladies listening to do something I've suggested in every episode of this series thus far, which is to listen to this entire episode by yourself first. Then pick a date and a time this week when you and your man can schedule some alone time and listen to this episode together. Now, Rick, I was looking at the podcast stats for this series the other day, and I noticed that there are a lot of you listening to these episodes multiple times or even downloading the previous episodes in this series. So I'm really encouraged that we are at least helping couples start a conversation about what can be some really challenging topics and discussing them together.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, honey, for all of us, husbands and wives, sometimes things get unsaid, and it's like we're opening that conversation. And to me, I'm excited we're doing it, and hopefully it will help the people that are listening today to kind of help their marriages and their relationships.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's start with the first myth. The first myth that I want to touch upon today is that women in midlife don't want sex. Now, frankly, I hear this a lot. I hear it in the media. I hear it from my clients. And yes, I believe I've said it a few times myself. I think the confusion really stems from the difference between having a low libido or low desire versus wanting sex.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of moving parts in this that I've learned over the years. I'm still learning 26 years in, and I know as we delve into this, there's going to be light shed even for myself.
Yeah, well, for me, to be honest, I didn't understand what the difference was. I thought they were one and the same. And when I started looking at the results of this study, the one that I referenced in the opening to the show, the one by the Society for Women's Health and Research, well, in that same study, women were asked to rank the importance of several quality of life factors. Those were having a healthy sex life, 1. Number 2, having a satisfying career. Number 3, owning your own home. Number 4, travel. And number 5, having an active social life. Now, on that list that I just read, where do you think sex ranked?
Oh, man. There's probably a trick question in here. Okay, what age were these women again?
40 to 80. 40 to 80 years old.
Oh, man. Okay. I mean, I know what I think it is. I'm going to put it somewhere between having a satisfying career, traveling the world. Travel?
No, I mean, like on the list, where would you rank it? Number 1 or number 5?
Oh.
As the most important.
For me, I would rank it number 5.
Least important, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. Wrong answer.
Ouch.
I thought it would be somewhere, to be honest, in the middle. But actually, according to this study, having a healthy sex life trumped all other quality of life factors and was number 1 on the leaderboard for all women surveyed.
Okay, that's a big aha for me because I was just listening to that list and maybe I was overthinking it, but now I'm thinking it through because that's why we're here. That says it all right there that it's number 1. Wow.
Yeah, it kind of shocked me because I talk to a lot of women every day who are like, not really in the mood for sex. But again, there's a big difference between being in the mood and actually wanting to have sex. So this same study also discovered that loss of sexual desire in women had a negative impact on their perceived overall quality of life that was equal to certain medical conditions like living with diabetes or chronic back pain.
Okay. This study's really opened my eyes, and we're only in the beginning of this. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, to equate an unhealthy sex life with chronic back pain, you know, that says a lot. So it says a lot about how women are perceived and what women really, really want.
Yeah, it's like, what are they putting their importance where you think, oh my gosh, diabetes, and then connecting it to, no, my sex life, that is at the top of my list. That's impactful.
Right. And it's also a big impact on, you know, the divorce rates in midlife and why they are so sky high because women and men cannot get on the same page. And it's myths like this that we need to unpack so we really understand where we're both coming from, so we can have an open dialogue and an open communication. And that's why I'm so glad we're doing this today. And I think the biggest takeaway from this myth is women want to have sex. And I know I can really personally relate to this because you and I will talk at the beginning of the week and we'll plan a date night or like a quality, dinner at home or something like that. And, I make sure I'm showered, which doesn't happen, not gonna lie, every day. So I'm clean, I smell good, I take the time to put makeup on, which I rarely do during the day because I work at home. I curl my hair, I get out of my PJs and my sweats, I actually look like a girl. But when it comes time to actually be together, I'm just not in the mood.
Well, yeah, and that's definitely happened. But I've realized over the years, and even as we have this discussion, there's a lot more to it that we're going to delve into to understand how we can bring that intimacy together and have our time together. It's not just, it's time.
Yeah, but I think what's important here is to understand that there's a gap between me wanting to want to be in the mood and actually being in the mood, which kind of brings us to myth number 2.
Right.
Sex is not an important factor to women when it comes to relationship satisfaction. Myth.
Myth.
Now, I gotta admit that this was another real eye-opener for me. Because according to the same study, when sex in a relationship is good, a woman's relationship satisfaction is about 15 to 20% higher overall. So not a huge impact, but, pretty positive. Yeah. But when sex in a relationship is bad or non-existent, a woman's relationship satisfaction decreases up to 50 to 70%.
Oh my God, that's definitely not good. That can be a relationship killer.
Well, yeah, that's why all the women are asking for the divorces, I guess. I mean, I didn't realize how much it was really impacting a woman's life, and I think it's so frustrating because it's like this horrible dichotomy, right? A lot of us women are not feeling, quote unquote, in the mood, but we want to be in the mood because we know all of the benefits of sex and we really want to connect with our partner. And it's not just about like having an orgasm, although that's important too. But it's the level of closeness and intimacy that we're also missing out on.
Well, I think it's the same for us guys. I mean, I want to be able to connect with you, and I would assume men want to connect with their wives. Mm-hmm. I want to feel that intimacy. I want to feel that connection and closeness, and that's how I feel. And I think there's a lot of men that feel that way too. It's not just about getting off.
Well, I think maybe I have some old tapes I need to toss out because in the early days of our courtship, way back when, you were pretty single-minded. Not gonna lie. When we were dating, you pursued me pretty hard. Eventually, I kept reiterating my timeline, and we actually started to fall in love. And you backed off. You were like, "I'm waiting. Whenever you're ready, let me know." And then, after some months, when we decided to take that next step, it was great. It was amazing. Everything was new and exciting. But being with the same partner for 5, 10, 20, 25 plus years, minus a lot of the romance that you were, love bombing me with in the beginning, it's no longer so new and exciting. And then you add hormones into the mix. And I gotta be honest, I find myself, like probably a lot of wives, taking one for the team, so to speak.
Yeah, well, I don't really want that. I want you to enjoy our experience together. And I think from a guy's perspective, that's really our challenge. How do we get you in the mood?
Well, that's what we're here to talk about today. I will say something that I did want to, make mention of is that, sometimes as a woman, we want to have sex, and sometimes as a woman, we want to make love. Sometimes I want you to, brush my hair from my face, take my face into your hands, give me slow kisses on my face and my neck. And then sometimes I just kind of want you to push me up against a wall And it's this, sometimes we feel desire and passion. Sometimes we want to be held and be cherished and be made to feel safe. And if we're on a different line of communication with you, if we're wanting sex and you're wanting to make love, or we're wanting to make love and you're wanting sex, it's not going to be good.
So, how do we know?
I know. You're not mind readers. I get it. We're going to talk about more about specifics of things that you can do together as a couple to kind of communicate better in the bedroom. But, there are subtle cues that you can get from your partner. I mean, something as little as, taking your partner's hand and moving it to the part of the body you want your partner to pay attention to, or slowing your partner's hand down, or speeding your partner's hand up. You don't necessarily, if you're not a talker, if you don't feel comfortable talking in the bedroom, there's body language and subtle cues that can kind of give your partner a nudge in the right direction. And I think that this, in a way, even if you've been with somebody 25 years, this can be relearning how to communicate about sex all over again, because as women, our bodies have changed. What felt good 25 years ago might not feel good anymore. What might felt, got us excited 25 years ago might be painful now. Or maybe we need a little bit more pressure or a little bit more friction going on in order to get the same kind of sensation that we did when we were younger. So it's all about communication.
Okay, well, that's good if we're in the bedroom, but how do we get you in the bedroom if you're not in the mood?
Well, we are actually going to address that in myth number 3. But before we get there, I do want to bring up something that occurs in a lot of women, which is responsive desire, otherwise known as response to arousal. So there's 2 different types of arousal. There's spontaneous arousal or desire, and there's responsive arousal or desire. So what this means is, if I decide to go ahead and engage in sex with you,
right, that's good.
Before I'm actually quote unquote in the mood, my desire will likely increase during or after the fact.
Well, I remember having sex in the past when you've initiated it, and afterwards you were like, hey, why don't we do that more often?
Yeah, it's true. It's like you're not really into it, but then afterwards, you realize, hey, that was fun. We should do that more. Well, that's what this responsive desire is. So sometimes you don't necessarily have to be in the mood, in your head or in your body, to actually have a pleasurable experience. Sometimes just going forward and engaging will actually give you the benefit of sex before you're ever wanting it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So sometimes it's not about being in the mood, but it's about being in a space where you allow yourself to get in the mood. And that actually brings us to myth number 3. Myth number 3 is passion begins in the bedroom or whichever room you choose. In long-term relationships, we know that passion occurs in bursts. It's not so much of an age thing, but an age of the relationship thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, we have a friend who's been in a long-term relationship that's now single, and he met someone dating, which he's dating exclusively now, around our age. They're very much in the early stages of the relationship. He's acting like he's in his 20s, like back in high school, if you will. So It kind of goes to your point.
Yeah. They're in that love bomb stage, right?
Right.
And so, he's about our age, somewhere in between, I think. No, he's older than you, actually, in his 60s.
Yeah.
And, he's running around like a 20-year-old or a 30-year-old. So it's not that because we're getting older, we are dealing with these issues. It's more a factor of a long-term committed relationship or marriage.
Yeah, totally makes sense.
And that's a really good example. In fact, researchers who are looking at marriage and long-term relationships in particular have identified some key psychosocial factors that really are going against them in terms of killing desire. So take a guess. What do you think one might be?
You know what? I'd have to go with boredom.
Yep. Boredom. Ding, 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 ding. Doing it the same way, in the same place, on the same day of the week, can really kill any spontaneous desire at all. Can you think of another one?
Well, with 26 years under my belt, I'm going to go with arguing for 500.
Yes. Ding, 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 ding. 2 for 2. So relationship conflict, as it's called, is actually number 1 on the list of desire killers. Because, let's face it, who wants to have sex when you're in a fight, right?
True, honey, but that's why we have makeup sex, honey.
Okay, now, don't go picking a fight right now, okay? So you're on a roll. Can you guess a third?
Well, let me see if I can tie it all together. I'm going to go with stress.
Yes. Major life stress is actually the number 2 desire killer. And that covers a lot of stuff. You've got finances, you've got taking care of kids, you've got caregiving for parents, work stress, illness, grief. It can be completely overwhelming. Plus, you have the whole hormonal component, which we're going to be discussing more of in our next episode. But essentially, whenever we are under a lot of stress or stress for a long period of time, known as chronic stress, our body releases cortisol, otherwise known as the flight or fight hormone. And high levels of cortisol can actually decrease desire in both women and men and reduce genital arousal.
Well, that explains a lot.
Right? Just describe my last 25 years of my life. And the last psychosocial factor that kills libido in women and men is disrupted desire levels.
What do you mean by that?
Well, for men, sex is largely vascular, meaning it's a matter of blood flow. Testosterone can also be an issue, but sexual desire is, for the most part, physiological. In contrast, for women, sex is largely neurological, meaning if a woman's hormones are balanced and she's still not feeling in the mood, the key to her heart is actually through her brain.
Well, I guess that gets me off the hook for expensive jewelry, I guess.
Ha 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 ha. No, it doesn't. Which brings us back to passion and how sexual desire works for women. Simply put, passion outside the bedroom begets passion inside the bedroom, which also includes sharing new experiences together. Now, we're going to talk more about this in a future episode on specific ways to increase your sex drive and improve your libido together. But have you found that to be true in our relationship, do you think?
Absolutely, honey. You know, when I think about some of the times over the years when we've taken like those surprise trips, or just getting away to explore. I remember the one trip when we went to Las Vegas. We went to the Mandalay Bay, had this great experience, went to the ice bar, you put on the fur coat, and it was like we was exploratory mode. We just had fun. And I remember going to Laguna back just a few weeks ago, walking around the different shops. I think just being able to get out and explore and have, get away from the dog, get away from the house, and just having time together in a different environment, the unknown. I think that's what makes it fun. Whether or not you're just window shopping or you're going to Wild Animal Park to go explore animals, doing something different is going to be something that's going to spice up the relationship, but also bring that passion for each other.
Yeah, I think the key here is new experiences. Not doing the same thing over and over and over again. Like, it's fine if it's your anniversary and you like this one restaurant and, you sit at this table every year and you order the same thing and, that's special. But, like, doing the same thing, going to the same restaurants for date nights, going to, you've got your 3 things. We can go to wine tasting, we can go to a movie, or we can go to the mall. It's like, Groundhog's Day over and over again. And to be honest, I would really like to be surprised more.
Well, yeah. I mean, you've told me early in the relationship, though, that you didn't like to be surprised. So that's always been a challenge at times for me.
Yeah, that's true. I was a little bit more OCD when I was younger, but I think, for someone like me or other women like me who like to have a sense of control, but also likes spontaneity, I just like to be a little prepared for my surprises.
Oh, okay. What do you mean?
Well, for instance, before we go anywhere, I just need to know like a few key things. Is it going to be indoors or outdoors? What's the temperature going to be? Like for the entire time that we're there. So let's just say it's an all day outdoor activity and the temperature is going to drop 10 to 15 degrees. I need to know that so I can bring a sweater. I also need to know not necessarily what we're doing, but how should I dress? Is this like tennis shoes and, hiking attire, sporty attire, gym type attire? Should I be like in a sundress? Am I dressing up? And also, do I need to bring a change of clothing or shoes? Because maybe we're going to go for a hike and then you're going to take me to lunch by the beach. Well, that's great. I want to make sure that I'm in sneakers and dressed comfortable to, go hike. But then I'm going to want to run into Target and change into like a sundress and sandals. I'm not going to want to be in my sweaty, stinky clothes sitting in front of, the ocean. And then also I want to know, is it going to be just us or are we going to be joined by other people? Because how I will dress for myself or how I will dress for you might be a little bit different if I know there's going to be other couples involved.
Okay. So would knowing these things ease your stress a little?
Yeah, totally. And when I feel like I'm prepared, even though I don't know exactly what we're doing, I have a little bit of sense of control and I feel prepared, then I feel secure, which helps me get out of my head and actually enjoy the experience.
Yeah, I know. You've always told me women are like a tea kettle. You need to give them a little time to reach a full boil.
Yep. And that starts outside the bedroom. Which brings us to our fourth and final myth. My partner isn't attracted to me anymore.
Not true, honey.
Well, I appreciate that, but sometimes I don't feel that way. And it's nothing on you. It's just, I think it's how a lot of women feel when we get to a certain age. Unless you live underground, we live in a culture that is constantly telling us women that aging is undesirable. From, ads on social media and TV, promoting facelifts, fillers, body contouring. I mean, every time I turn on one particular, music channel, it's like these ads follow me around. They must all know that I'm over 50 because, it's like every other ad is like an ad for plastic surgery. Or body contouring. And then, you've got that on one end. And then on the other end, I'm sitting there watching, one of my favorite reality shows last night. And I've got these commercials with middle-aged women in diapers. And, it's like we're taught that getting older is something to either be prevented or feared. And so, we get out of the shower, we look in the mirror, we're doing our, our makeup, and we see our faces and our bodies changing. We're not the same women that our husbands saw and couldn't keep their hands off. Maybe we've gained some weight, super common, especially in menopause. Or maybe our weight has shifted. Things aren't as perky as they used to be. And we may also be dealing with hormonal issues that cause really not so desirable side effects like bloating, gas, even incontinence. So while our husbands are just getting older and more distinguished, and the media is calling them silver foxes, we, on the other hand, are just getting old. And this can really affect our self-image inside and outside of the bedroom, as well as our ability to see ourselves as desirable.
Yeah, I think it's so important that you need to let your spouse know you're attracted to her. And I think there's even been times where I haven't been as good about that, and it's being top mind about that, so she knows how you feel to make her feel a certain way.
Yeah, I really think I need to feel that more from you now than even I did, 28 years ago when we met. It's like it used to be I would, walk down the stairs, I would get ready, we'd be, getting ready to go out or something, and I would walk down the stairs and you'd look at me at the bottom of the stairs and like your jaw would just, drop on the ground. You didn't even have to say anything. It was just your facial expression that I knew that, you were attracted to me. Um, and now after 28 years, I'll come down the stairs and you'll be like, "Hi, honey, nice outfit, ready to go?" And I'll be like, "Wow, what happened to the reaction that I used to get?" And I think it's more important even now as I age, and I know I don't look the same, but to know that you feel the same way about me.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That is on us as husbands to be self-aware, to let you know how we feel and having those moments, and knowing what's important, like what is going to have you feel that, and I need to be able to communicate that to you.
Right. A good point, because I think it's different for different women. I think there's a difference between being desired and feeling desirable. Okay, those are two kind of different aspects of the same issue.
What do you mean?
Well, I think a woman needs to feel relaxed in order to be receptive to sex and intimacy, right? We talked all about sex
Right.
starting in the brain.
Mm-hmm.
And if she's worried about how she looks, if I'm worried about how I'm looking, it's not going to happen. So, your wife might not feel comfortable undressing in front of you when it comes to sex or having you undress her. She might want to get undressed and get under the covers before you come into the bedroom. And no, it doesn't matter if you've seen her naked 1,000 times. She might want to keep the lights off the entire time. And you need to be okay with that. Because she needs to feel you desire her, but she also needs to feel desirable as well. And if she's feeling a certain way about her body, she needs to make sure that she is presenting herself in a way that makes her comfortable. So it's really, really important to have a conversation, not when you're getting ready to have sex, way ahead of when you're getting ready to have sex. Like after this podcast is over, maybe, to find out, like, what is her preferences now? Lights on, lights off, undressed. Maybe she wants to like keep her bra on or her t-shirt on. Like, it doesn't matter what she wanted 10 years ago. What is she comfortable with now? Because when she's comfortable, she's going to be relaxed. When she's relaxed, she's going to be receptive. When she's receptive, you guys are going to be able to connect.
I think you're right. I think it's even in our relationship, that's so important to have that share with each other and having those moments, because when you feel comfortable, then it's going to give us a space to have time together, whatever that's going to look like. But it starts with trust and communication and share together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So there you go. What kills our libido in perimenopause and menopause, and 4 tips to get it back. So, what did we learn from this episode, and how can we apply it this Valentine's Day? Let's recap. Tip number 1. Passion inside the bedroom begins with passion outside the bedroom. Sharing new experiences together creates excitement. So, this Valentine's Day, how about picking a new restaurant to celebrate? Or plan a surprise date for your partner? Or do something completely different like going ice skating or getting a couples massage. Whether it's your 5th V-Day together or the 25th, try spicing things up with a little variety. Tip number 2. This one's especially for you guys. Tell and show your partner how attractive she is. Women need to feel desired and desirable to want to have sex. If your partner is feeling insecure about the way she looks, she's not going to be relaxed enough or receptive enough to want intimacy. So what does that look like exactly? Honestly, it's different for different women, but try things like saying thank you for little things that she does that you take for granted. When you're talking to her, give her direct eye contact, especially when you're in a group of people. It really makes her feel like she's the only one in the room. Or really listen when she talks about something that she's deeply passionate about. Flirt, give her compliments, and even make out with no expectation of it going any further, unless, of course, she initiates. Tip number 3. You don't have to be in the mood, ladies, to get in the mood. Studies show that responsive desire and arousal can occur when you engage in intimacy, even when you're not that into it. Desire can actually build, not only during sex, but through foreplay, like affectionate touch, cuddling, kissing, or a back or a foot massage. Most importantly, take the time to just take things slow with no pressure and let desire build naturally. And tip number 4, communicate verbally or non-verbally inside the bedroom. Ladies, our bodies change, and guys, you need to know this. They change a lot when we're going through perimenopause and menopause. Not just emotionally or mentally, but in the inside. So what felt good 5, 10, or even 15 years ago may not feel good now. In fact, it may even hurt. And no one is going to want to have sex, no matter how much she's in the mood, if it causes actual pain. So it's important to talk to your partner even before you get into the bedroom to put her at ease so that both of you can have an enjoyable sexual experience. I hope you have an amazing week and an amazing Valentine's Day. I'm looking forward to meeting you back here next week when we'll get into 6 root causes of hormone imbalance and how to figure out what's causing your hormonal symptoms. Until then, sending you out into the world, wishing you health, happiness, and fewer hot flashes. Hey friend, can I call you friend? Because I already feel like we're friends in my head. Did this podcast teach you something, make you laugh, or feel less like an alien? If so, I would be so incredibly grateful if you could take just 60 seconds to rate, review, and subscribe. That is the number one way you can thank me and support the show. Until next week, stay cool and keep away from sharp objects.